Hello, everybody. You can call me Hunch. Everything I say here is not financial advice. Now, I just want to say, before we get started, I think you all have just not been around long enough because everyone thinks I'm like some bipolar crazy dude. Like, I have always been like this. I've been making videos for 2 years, right? I know it sounds counterintuitive that I would criticize the things that I'm invested in, but I tend to prefer my networks get better, listen to feedback, all of those things a sane person would talk about. Now, I'm going to be going through some of those things that I've been tweeting about. Runes is here. I'm going to be talking about the runes that I'm bullish on. I'm just kind of freestyle it here, so just bear with me. Nakamoto is coming. We got a lot of bullish things, so let's dive on it. Okay, so I tweeted this today, and I think this is important to remember, right? I continue to think everyone underestimates the chance of sideways chop or bear for 6 to 24 months. That being said, so that's 6 months to 2 years, right? That being said, I'm still buying stacks in Bitcoin because it doesn't matter in a long enough time frame. Whiff Dome was an easy top signal. Now, I'm not saying it was the top or whatever it is, okay? But, when you think about, when you're an investor, okay, you think about all the possible outcomes and where you are, where you're allocated, right? So you change your percentage of allocations based on what, statistical outcome you may think will happen, okay? So it doesn't mean anything other than that. It doesn't mean there's a bear. It doesn't mean there's a bull. You just have to judge, right, where you think we could be in the future. Are we going to be super down in like a long-term bear market, right? Do you want to be cashing out? What do you have to do with your life? You have to be considering these things. Now, I called the bear perfectly last time, and it appears that I'm calling this sideways chop / bear correctly so far, right? And nobody can deny that from me because I am absolutely egregious on Twitter when it comes to making my point known, right? I even went on ORNJ's Revolution podcast. I said again, I reiterated that I think that this is a real possibility that people are downplaying. And here we are. I continue to be right, just like I was right about the ETH Bitcoin chart going down, just like I was right about stacks, just like I was right about DIKO. Now, I'm going to venture and say that I am right about these next things that I'm going to talk about, okay? Not to say that I'm right about everything. You cannot think you are to be good, right? You have to realize that you don't know everything, right? So I'm gonna say this, right? Stacks, I meant stacks community, right? Stacks really don't get it, do they? It's always been about Bitcoin. Nobody gives a blank about stacks other than the fact that it will help Bitcoin adoption. Your memes are worthless in the end. I want you to be very clear about this. There is no community. There is no emotional attachment to this. This is an investment, first off. Okay, you are not a developer, most likely, if you're watching me. And if you are, that is a different point of view. If you are an investor, cut it out. I'm going to say that again. If you are an investor, do not become emotionally charged. Now, you shouldn't be doing anything I say. I'm just saying if you are, based on your own fruition, you cannot be emotional about this, right? And I'll say what this guy said. It is odd for me to see people in stacks who have no interest in Bitcoin whatsoever, which is 99% of the WELSH community. The most bullish case for stacks is Bitcoin, ordinals, runes, blah, blah, blah. Holding stacks but not being interested in those assets is backwards. That is precisely the concept. Stacks is nothing without Bitcoin. Do not forget. What I am saying is not a controversial point of view. It is the only point of view that you should have, okay? Now, I also tweeted this. Ordinals equals community, right? Stacks equals tool. Meme equals marketing for tool, okay? Class, are you listening? This is how this works. So when you talk about dumping, and I won't go into it again, the meme on the community, just shut up. There's no community. I'm going to say it one more time. The purpose of a meme is to dump on the next person. You emotional labile babies, okay? Now, I'm going to prove to you that I am not the emotional babies, and these guys are, right? The WELSH communities, the people way over invested in their bags, right? I said today, Stacks makes Bitcoin useful by bringing smart contracts in a different way that helps preserve Bitcoin's decentralization. That is a very good concept to imagine in your head. And even if it's not entirely right, it's sort of in the right direction rather than my bags are fat, bro. Okay, right? There is nothing emotional about that. Nutbags preaching community are absolutely emotional carnage when investing. You cannot become so emotionally attached. Listen, if Stacks did not address this the way I see fit, I don't care about the community. I want to survive. What are you, a lunatic? Okay, now listen, you have the emotional stability of a 24-month-old toddler. In fact, the toddler might be more stable than you. You should seriously consider taking a break from this platform for your own emotional well-being. With like a Welsh, whatever. So, okay. He said this under the statement where I said Stacks makes Bitcoin useful by bringing smart contracts in a different way that helps preserve Bitcoin's decentralization. That is correct. It doesn't bloat the base network. It doesn't change the underlying code. It's going for decentralization itself. Everything I stated there is correct unless a developer wants to correct me. What is incorrect is being emotionally charged about a token on the internet if it's not going to promote Bitcoin or financial freedom, right? It could be any other chain, and it could be Ethereum. If you think it's going to better the world with DeFi or whatever, fine. If your bags are packed with Welsh coin and you're an emotional diaper baby about it, you don't understand crypto, okay? Now, I get a rash of shit for, not being pro-Welsh. So Welsh attacked me personally, some of the community members, even though I've been there the longest, okay? It's not about that. I am an investor, okay? I want to make money theoretically, right? Okay, and this guy, George DeGrant, writes it perfectly, okay? On the utility side, I'd go with two coins, Alex and DIKO. As meme coins go, as in most chains, I'd shoot for provenance. Go after the OG coins that sooner or later always get discovered. Ignore anything else. That being said, my current bag contains Pepe, Leo, and Welsh, right? There are some sub 1 million, blah, 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 Rock and Ethereum, right? Now, again, applying the above example market cap, let's compare Welsh to Pepe. Welsh has a market cap 20 times higher than that of Pepe. So if I would invest now, I would invest $5 into Pepe for every $1 into Welsh. This way, I average out my positions and my risk. Okay, are you following me here? That is how you invest in crypto. Now, I don't understand this community who thinks I'm the emotional one when I am giving you insane alpha. Just because you have a fat bag of Welsh doesn't mean you shouldn't retinker your portfolio. Okay? It is going to be substantially harder for Welsh to do a 10x than a lower market cap meme coin. That is obvious. Okay? Now, why am I saying this? Nakamoto meme season, I think, is coming. And I tweeted about it, right? I said it's cooking, right? Today, Stacks Foundation, the Nakamoto release, it just started. It came out like a day today or yesterday, right? It got it, but the fast blocks aren't coming till next month. Whatever the case is, I still think Nakamoto meme season is coming over from Solana, and George writes about that in here. I was one of the first to say that. Now, I know you're saying, why do you keep bringing this up? Why are you so offended by this? I'm offended by this because you're all idiots and you cannot understand that I am not a programmer. I don't care about your fat bags of meme tokens, and I want you to succeed. I don't want you to be a moron the rest of your life, okay? Crypto is hard. You're not just, it is the likelihood that you pick a meme that does a 50,000x and you put $10 in it and you can retire is almost zero. Okay, so I digress. Now, just to review, On Runes, they're trying to release an L1 or whatever. I still don't think that will work, right? I say L1's for stablecoin that settle on Bitcoin. Now, why do I say that? I don't want to bloat the chain. It's not fast on the base layer, right? This just does not make sense to me at all. Maybe I'm missing something. I'm keeping an open mind towards base layer L1s, but to me, I mean, it's complete nonsense that they think this is going to work, right? Bitcoin is clearly more of a settlement layer, and things that make it better, like the Lightning Network or whatever, should have the stable coins, right? Okay, now maybe that's what I'm missing, right? Maybe this is on L1 and it works on Lightning, right? Until I can see how a stable coin can work on an L1, I'm not going to pay that much attention to it, and I'd much rather be exposed to DIKO that we've been talking about since 2 cents. Now, could this go to 0? Sure. Is there a lot of risk? Yes. What are they trying to solve? The time value of money. That's very difficult. But I'm in. I like it. Okay. Now, Magic Eden released runes. It's also on Unisat. I prefer Magic Eden. Okay. Some of these that I'm going to go through, right? Dog to the moon. I mean, if you fade this, I just don't understand the concept, right? It's over 300 million, maybe 350 million in terms of market cap. I do think this is going to get on every exchange on the planet. And even if it doesn't, from a risk stratified perspective, why would you not be exposed to it unless you don't have the money, right? It's obviously risky. I like Satoshi Nakamoto, RSIC, which I can't afford to buy or whatever. Fehu is the first rune, Aneko, Cat, or Narco. I can't even say that. Cat Bus is in the creator of runes portfolio, right? So you could speculate on these things. You don't have to put a lot in order to get a lot of return, right? Narco Cat Bus is up huge. Wanko Manko runes, which is weird. I don't know about that one. Be very careful that it has some weird connotations with it. Doggo to the moon is up huge. That's the airdrop if you had the rune stone, right? So it's going to be hard to pick some of these others, right? Privacy is your right. I mean, you could speculate all day on these things, right? They got Wall Street bets. To me, it's very difficult, and it would be wise to just pick a few, in my opinion. But again, there's no real strategy to this, okay? This is entirely up to you how you want to invest in rune memes, okay? Connor on chain, response time, honestly, transparency, top factors, long-term growth project, Bitcoin virtual machine. Now, a lot of the Stacks community have a problem with BVM. I'm not saying it's part of my theoretical portfolio, but if you do want an extra opportunity to increase your beta or your risk or your returns, I still like this. I'm not convinced it's a scam. Everybody's talking about this, trust thing, or they released a meme token. But I know a prominent coder in the Stacks ecosystem who really does not think that this is a scam. That doesn't mean it doesn't have that risk. There are risks to it, right? A lot of people in the Stacks community think the team is nonsensical, or they're trying to rug us slowly, right? It did have this massive drop, but people profited huge off those rune runners if they were staking their BVM. Right, there was a lot of sell pressure, and the community, basically said you should depeg BVM for the trades and use native Bitcoin, right? So they were responsive, right? There is a centralization issue with that, with this, which I have a problem with. Maybe there is some EVM components that I have a problem with, just like I do Merlin. But I do think that there is an opportunity here, even if you don't put a lot, right? I think the upside potential could still be massive. Like, I just am not willing to walk away yet, and maybe that's a mistake, but I don't think that it's a rug just yet. Now, right? See, we've had this massive drop. That is a red flag. Absolutely. I don't know why it dropped so hard, but if you are looking for an entry, which I don't, necessarily think you should or you shouldn't, this is the one. So again, please use Stacks Tools by Leo to come look at meme tokens, right? Pombu, right? I'm exposed to all those, I think, and I think it's better to go smaller than higher here, right? There's not a ton to choose from overall, right? And if Nakamoto meme season comes, it doesn't make sense to be all in on WELSH. I'm sorry, right? Even if you want to be in a Rune or a Rue or Ethereum, which is, a weird one, but I digress. Right, Nakamoto is up 117% today. Sweet, right? This is a new one, I guess. I don't know what this is. But you should get an exposure to some of them, right? I like not. And I have exposure to WELSH and Rue and Ethereum, right? And it's just based on your own weights where you think you'll make the most return. So that's all I wanted to talk about today. Just to reiterate, don't be married to Stacks. Stacks is a tool for Bitcoin. This is not rocket science, okay? But I have to keep you focused. Anyway, you could call me Hunch. And my hunch is stop being so emotionally attached to these things. These things do not care about you. You can call me Hunch.